Hi folks, this is God of Radio Moscow here again for you with another beer review. Today I'm going for the Williams Brothers 7 Giraffes. Now, Williams Brothers are quite an interesting company to talk about, and they started as a family-owned home brew shop in Glasgow known as Glen Brew, and their very first commercialised product that they did, basically it started in 1988 when a Gaelic-descended woman turned up in their shop with an English translation of an ancient Gaelic recipe from the 17th century, and it was for Froich Heather Ale. Now she basically wanted to create a batch of this to share with her family, but Bruce Williams, he basically said, "Oh, if you share the recipe with me, I'll share my brewing expertise," and then that's basically how Williams Brothers was born. But they created a small batch of only 5 barrels, and they produced this in a tiny, tiny brewery in Tyne railway station in Argyll and Bute. But the following year, when they went to do this, the demand had increased massively, and at this point, Bruce Williams' brother Scott joined the business, and they began to develop other historic recipes such as Grosit, which is a gooseberry wheat ale, Kelpie, a seaweed ale, Ebalum, which is an elderberry black ale, and Alba, which is a Scots pine ale. And these 4 recipes were produced in the Craigmill Brewery in Strathaven between 1998 and 2004. And in 2004, the company relocated to their current base at the 4th Brewery in Kellybank, Alloa. And this was when they adopted the name for the company, the Williams Brothers. And they've got since moving to this site, they've developed 25 different new recipes, and they're now regarded as one of Scotland's biggest microbreweries and most prolific microbreweries, in fact. But oddly enough, Alloa has a very rich brewing history. There's a hell of a lot of whisky bonds in Alloa, but ironically, the Williams Brothers are the only operational brewery left in Alloa, unfortunately. Now, I'll just let you have a little look at the bottle here. You can see quite a nice little design. The cap is quite an interesting. It's got little Celtic symbols. You can see there, product of Scotland, Williams Brothers. It's quite an interesting little thing. So we'll just get this poured and have a little taste of it. Now, it's a 5.1% strong bitter, so this should be quite an interesting one. I've heard this particular one was recommended to me by a friend. I wanted to do the Froich Heather Ale as my first Williams Brothers review, but it was nowhere to be found in Aberdeen, unfortunately. So 7 Giraffes it is. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot of carbonation in this one by the looks of it. A lot of little bubbles floating around. You can see the heads actually fading quite quickly. It's got a very very sweet aroma to it. It's kind of it's very, very citrusy. There's a lot of floral elements in this particular smell. There's a little bit of grassiness and pininess, but the sort of fruitiness and floral element, fruitiness, floralness, and that's definitely the most prominent thing in this one, I would say. It's a very, very sort of sweet smelling beer, I have to say. I've never quite smelled anything quite like it. There's a hell of a lot going on in this particular beer. So let's just give it a little taste. Well, it's got quite a good flavour to it as well, actually. There's a lot of kind of fruity hops in there, I would say. It's there's a little bit of the bitterness you can definitely detect. It's quite a sort of spicy bitterness, I would say. There's a little hint of of roasted hops in it as well, I would say. But it's mainly the fruitiness. The fruitiness and the sort of spicy bitterness that are prominent in it. It's actually very nice. It's quite, I would say, in terms of the mouth feel, it's quite medium bodied. It's not very heavy. It's definitely a summer beer. it's not heavy going. I'd say it's sort of medium bodied, and there's a little bite, which I think is probably due to the carbonation and the sort of bitterness of it. It's quite. I've never quite tasted anything that's quite like this one. I think it's definitely quite a good choice as my first review from Williams Brothers. It smells, like I say, it smells like nothing, like no other beer I've ever smelled before. It has that very sort of florally element to it. The fruits, trying to figure out what exactly what fruits I'm tasting in this. It's not particularly appley. I can't really. You can tell that there's a sort of fruity element to the hops, but there's not a particular fruit that stands out in the flavour. You can tell that the hops are very fruity. It's got a little bit of the bitterness in it. The bitterness and the fruits are the dominant flavours, but there's that little element of roastiness in it as well, like roasted hops. But overall, it's a very, very nice beer. It's just light enough. Sometimes with fruit beers and roasted beers, they can be very, very heavy going, but that's not the case with this one, I would say. There's a little bite at the end of it from the carbonation and the bitterness. The aftertaste is more of a bitter aftertaste. I would say it's quite. It's definitely a kind of summer beer. I would say this one to me it wouldn't be one that I would drink as a session beer. I wouldn't just buy lots of these and drink them in one go. I'd say this is more one where you want to think about the flavour itself and enjoy it. It's a very complex smelling beer when you first take a smell of it, and that carries on into the taste. But the fruits and the fruity hops and the sort of the bitterness are the most kind of dominant flavours in it, I would say. But I would definitely recommend this to give a try of this. Like I say, it's one of the most successful Scottish craft breweries of recent times, and it's only going to grow further. Their brews are very highly recommended. I was in fact recommended this both by one of my very good friends and by my football forum that I frequent quite often. But thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Like and subscribe to the video and the channel and things like that, and let me know your own thoughts on the beer as well. But thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon. Cheers.